not sure. That might heard me a while ago. Not sure if my microphone wasn't turned up. Oh, probably not. You can probably hear me now. Hear me that way?
Yes, sir.
Cool. Yeah, man, evening.
Evening, sir.
That might remind me. I think you had said that you were having problems with Canvas, right? Like you weren't able to see my content container. Is that right?
Yes, sir. And that's in uh system integration.
Yeah, and you're still not seeing it.
Uh
You want to check?
yes, sir. Still not seeing it.
Okay. All right. Do you know what it would take? You know why you're not able to see it?
The override.
Oh, okay, got it.
So I think I need to either go to school or Mr. Mr. Aki sent us a complaint and feedback request. So I
Hmm.
think we're supposed to use that in order to get to Mr. Parchment for him
Hmm.
to let us through. So
Okay,
I should
understood.
send that soon and let Mr. Parchment let me in so I can see it.
Right. All right. Understood.
Yes, sir.
Hmm. Oh, Tariq's here. All right. I don't see why we can't start then. You ready?
Yes, sir.
One sec. Where are we? Session two. This is. Oh no, wrong notes. What is this? Sorry, give me one sec. Hmm. Oh, sorry. Give me one moment. Oh my God, this is system integration. All right. Yeah. I had a little bit of an issue a while ago because I forgot that the name of the course was systems integration. I was looking at my slides or my notes and I saw systems integration thinking, wait, no, we covered that last week. What we're doing this week. But no, that's the name of the course. So my mistake. All right, I can share my screen. I need to kill WhatsApp. One sec. I can turn off notifications on this thing. And now share. Tell me if you can see my screen, please. Mhm.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Can see it.
Mhm. Yeah. So, yeah, we're continuing with Unit 1. But today we're going to be moving into principles of systems integration. I think that's the name of the topic, right? Am I right? Fundamental systems integration concepts and required skills. I think that's what we're looking at today. All right. So, yeah. So, I hope you guys had a good weekend. You had class yesterday as well, I imagine. Today, or rather last week, what we'd have looked at. So, we laid some foundation. We defined what system integration is, and we took a look at four types of integration architectures, right? I think I asked you this last week. I guess we don't have to go through this again. I was gonna say to remind me of the four different types of systems integration, but I asked that last week. But just to make sure that we remember, remind me of the four different types of systems integrations, please.
um,
We have
vertical, horizontal,
Mhm.
spaghetti,
Mhm.
and hybrid.
Mm,
Wait, not hybrid.
no, I think you're mixing topics. Tariq, why you don't
Yeah.
try? Give me the fourth one.
the implement. We have the Big Bang.
No, man, not that, not the
No, no.
implementations. So no, I started off with the
Repeat, sir.
first three. It was the types of system
Oh,
integration.
all the types.
Hmm. All right, the one that you didn't remember was common data format. Yeah. So Tariq, since you started off a while ago with the implementation types, now you can continue. So you said Big Bang a while ago. You can continue.
Yeah, and then we have the phasing, which are the them again the top to bottom and the bottom to
Hmm.
top.
Hmm.
Else, and the Big Bang and the phase. I remember.
Hmm.
Else,
And I think
and the
the mindset,
hybrid.
right? The hybrid,
Hybrid.
right? Hybrid or phased, right? Hmm. All right, good. So let me see. Oh, did we even talk about that? In my notes, I have that we talked about continuous integration. Did we talk about continuous integration last week? And enterprise application integration? I feel like we didn't.
With the API, sir, and the legacy systems on themselves.
We did talk about that for sure. I'm not sure if I remember talking about continuous integration though. But we did talk about a little bit of the skills that we needed to look at, software engineering, stuff like REST and all that stuff.
So I don't
Um,
think we did talk about continuous
no,
integration.
you're right. We didn't. We absolutely did not. All right, I think I have a mistake in my notes. But hold on, let me see if I can try to fix this. Okay, so all right, I think is actually what we need to go into today. All right, let's see. Slide two. All right, I'm gonna skip to slide three. Okay, so system integration is actually something that we need to continue. We didn't look at it before. It is something that we need to continue or we need to look into now. So my mistake. I had my notes wrong. Okay, so one of the first concepts that we need to get into is continuous integration or CI. I can paint a picture for you. Imagine you have a team of 5 developers and they're all working on different parts of the same system. Every day, each developer writes new code. Yeah. The question to you is, how do you make sure that all of their code stays together without breaking anything? So back before we had systems integration, developers would work separately for weeks or even months. They tried to combine all their work at the end, and inevitably things would break. Code from developer A would conflict with developer B, and this was always painful. It was so painful that people would actually call it integration hell. Yeah, that's how difficult it was. That's the kind of problems that it would cause. It would be chaotic. CI or systems, not sorry, CI or continuous integration solves this by automating the whole process. So look at the pipeline on the slide that we'll have in front of you. Um, every time a developer submits their code, that code is, hmm, you guys know about committing code. You guys use GitHub?
Yes, sir.
Oh, you
Yes,
do.
sir.
Okay, so you're familiar with us like code commit. You know what I mean by that. So every time a developer submits their code, that's the code commit on the left. The system will automatically compile everything together, run all the tests, and within a few minutes, if something broke, it will tell you. But if everything passes, then it can be deployed automatically. That extension is called continuous development or CD. Yeah. So the key word here is continuous. This isn't something that you do once at the end. It runs every single time code is committed. You're catching problems early and often instead of discovering at the end when everything is expensive to fix. I'm going to give you a real world example. Um, one that you interact with every day. So think about how often our phone apps update. WhatsApp, Instagram, they push updates every week or every 2 weeks, right? Those companies aren't manually testing every feature before the release. They have automated CI/CD pipelines. Remember, CI is continuous integration and CD is continuous development. Sorry, not development, deployment. So they have automated CI/CD pipelines doing that work continuously. That's what makes it possible. Questions on that so far?
None yet, sir.
Mm-hmm. All right, Max, a question. Have you ever had experience where two people editing the same file at the same time causes conflicts? You ever been working in collaboration with another person? Like, for example, you have a Google Doc work open and two on working on the same file at the same time?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
sir.
So this concept, continuous integration, would prevent any kind of conflicts, but at a much larger scale. Hmm. Where am I? Here. Okay. We're going to talk more about that in a second, but for now, we're going to move on to the next one. So next we'll have enterprise application integration, or EAI. I don't like that it says AI. What is that? EAI. So now, okay, CI was about developers and code, but EAI is about the business side. That's the actual applications that a company runs on every day. Think about a large company. A large company has HR systems or human resources systems, right? They have, in addition to HR, they have accounting packages or a CRM for managing customer relationships. What's that? CRM is customer relationship management. Um, they also have an inventory system, inventory management system, and they have an email system. All these applications are relevant for a big business, right? These are all different software applications, probably from different vendors, and probably bought at different times, or downloaded, or installed, or implemented at different times. So they're not related. Without EAI, each one of these applications is basically an island that don't have anything to do with each other. The HR system doesn't know about your accounting system. When you hire someone new, a person in HR enters their information. Then someone in IT manually creates their email account. And then somebody in payroll manually adds them to the payroll system. And then someone else has to set up their billing access card, right? Building access card, I mean, sorry. That's 4 different people doing manual entry for one system. Now, with EAI, these applications are connected. A new employee is added into HR, and automatically their email account is created, payroll is updated, and their access card is provisioned. No re-entry, no delays, and no error from anyone mistyping a name or anything like that. It would be really interesting if when in there. What name? Why I forget the name of the school? Excelsior was able to implement something like this. It would cause a whole lot less headache, especially with the issue that Demoy mentioned last week. Eh? So now, here's how it connects to what we learned last week, though. So remember horizontal integration with the middleware bus? EAI is essentially the why behind the architecture. The middleware is the technology, and EAI is the business strategy of how using that technology to connect the enterprise applications. I'll give you an example that's related to Jamaica. Think about Grace Kennedy or Seprod, for example. A sale at a supermarket needs to update inventory, and it's going to then trigger a manufacturing order if stock is low. And the flow through the flow through to the financial reports. The link comes in where EAI is what makes all of that happen automatically without someone walking a paper from a paper form between each account. Just to clarify, I did say Grace Kennedy, and then I moved on to supermarket. We know the link between the two, right? Like we know that like a whole bunch of the products in the supermarket are produced or provided by Grace Kennedy. Like you know the brand Grace. Anytime you have food like ketchup or Lasco or whatever, not Lasco, Lasco is Lasco. If it's made by Grace, then it's made by Grace Kennedy. We know this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm just making sure. Make sure I don't lose anybody with that. But yeah, right. So, so now let's talk about what actually does the heavy lifting. That's the integration platform. This is the actual software that makes the integration happen. Think of it as an operating system for integration. An integration platform handles four main jobs, and you can see them on the slide in front of you. The first thing we need to look at is the messaging route, making sure that the right data gets to the right system. When an order comes in, the platform knows to send the customer details to the CRM, the financial data must go to accounting, and the shipping details must go to the warehouse system. The second thing is the data transformation. Sorry. Converting data from one format to another. Remember the common data format discussion that we had last week? This is where this comes into practice. System A sends XML, and then system B needs JSON. The platform converts it on the fly, so there's no need for anybody to know how to convert from one system to the other. The middleware is what does the conversion, and it's done on the fly automatically without our intervention. The third protocol is translation. One system might use REST, and we'll talk about REST in a bit. Maybe not in this session, but maybe later. And another system might use SOAP. SOAP is another protocol, similar to REST, but different. And then a third one might use something completely different from REST and different from SOAP. The integration platform bridges between them so that they don't need to know about each other's protocol. So that's the beauty about this portion of what we're doing now. The fourth thing is monitoring and logging. Tracking every message that passes through the system. This is critical for troubleshooting reasons. When something goes wrong at, for example, 2 a.m., and you need to be able to trace exactly what happened, which message failed and why, logging and monitoring is going to be able to help with that. Really important. I don't think you'd be familiar with maybe some of these names you'd be familiar with. I don't think you'd be able to, I don't think you'd be familiar with MuleSoft, but maybe Microsoft Azure. You familiar with Azure? You guys know about Azure, Azure?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
sir.
Oh, you know about Azure. Okay, good. So Microsoft, that's a Microsoft platform. So I have a few platforms. We have MuleSoft, Microsoft Azure Integration Services. You guys know about IBM, right? IBM Integration Bus. And this other one
Yes,
called
sir.
Apache Kafka. So yeah, you probably be familiar with IBM. Maybe not Apache Kafka though. But you don't need to know about these in depth right now. But recognizing the name might be helpful. These products are billion-dollar products because integration is important to businesses. So even though in the business, like these particular types of platforms don't exactly help with providing the products or the services to the end user, it helps the business to be a good business. And if the business can function properly, then they don't have to worry about all of the different systems that they need to manage before they can provide their service or their product, right? That thing is handled, that part of the business management is handled for them. So all they have to do is focus on providing their product or offering their service. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. So a simple analogy. If the systems in an organization are like different departments that speak different languages, the integration platform is the translator's office, basically. Every message passes through it, gets translated into the right format, and is delivered to the right destination. Okay. So, Integration Competency Center, that's the ICC. All right, so we've talked about the technology, we talked about the platforms, we talked about the middleware, and we talked about the tools. But who manages all of this? That's where the Integration Competency Center comes in, or ICC for short. An ICC is a dedicated team within an organization that's responsible for managing and governing all integration efforts. You can think of it like this. You know how the IT department sets the rules for which software the company uses, what security policies to follow, and how to handle data. Actually, are you guys familiar with that? You guys ever had to visit ICT? You've been on campus, yes? I'd imagine you've been on campus.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Um, I don't actually know if this is an issue. Do you guys have to like set your passwords and stuff like that? Like, do your passwords expire? My password hasn't
Yes,
expired.
sir. I have to
Oh,
go
you
to
do?
ICT change cancel.
You have to go to ICT to change it?
Yeah, for me personally, I don't know about everybody else, but anytime my password expires, I have to go to ICT to get a new one.
That's horrible.
Which
I didn't know if it
password?
was, I didn't know if it was
Wait,
like that.
which password? Which password?
Like your email password?
No, my email is the same one straight through.
So Tariq, which password are you talking? You talking email password?
Yes, sir. For my email, for the canvas and to access my email, it
Oh,
expires. I've changed it. About it has been changed 2 times so far.
oh, whoa. That is interesting. Dumb one, you don't have that problem?
No, I
Okay.
think it's only one time I ever changed it, and it was because me myself forgot my password.
All right. Well, I'm not sure what that happened. And I don't know if it's something that can affect me. I haven't been at the college long enough for it to affect me, I assume. So I don't know. We may see. But if it's something that continues to happen, maybe I can ask ICT why it's happening, Tariq. But yeah, the ICT department or the what name? ICT RM Resources Management. That's right name. I don't even remember what their name, but their name is on the door. They are the department that defines all of the rules and the security policies that the college, the students, the lecturers, the staff, all staff have to abide by, software wise. Yeah. Where was I? So I said that they're a dedicated team, responsible for managing government, blah, blah, blah. Right. So yeah, that's the department that sets the rules for which software the company uses, what security policies to follow, and how to handle the data. And ICC does the same thing, but specifically for integration. They have four main responsibilities. ICC sets the standards, that is, which platform to use, which data formats, which protocols are acceptable, and so on. They also govern projects. So they review and provide, they approve integration projects to make sure that nobody is building spaghetti connections, right, behind the scenes, because we don't want that. Um, Remember, one of the points I'd made about the spaghetti connections or the spaghetti integration system is it's usually not done on purpose. It might be a case where it starts off that way, and as the years go by or as systems are integrated incrementally, you might find that, you may not notice that you've accidentally created a spaghetti system. So ICC makes sure that nobody in the business is accidentally creating a spaghetti system in the background. Because we don't want that. Um, they also provide expertise. So they're the go-to team when anyone in the organization has any integration questions. And they maintain the platform, keeping the integration infrastructure running, updated, and secure. Oh, good. Any questions about ICC?
No, sir.
Mhm. All right, so here's where ICC matters or why it matters. Without ICC, integration decisions get made by ad hoc individuals or project teams. You know what I mean by ad hoc, right? When I say ad hoc, I just mean like impromptu or just case by case. Question comes up and out of nowhere, because it has to be answered, somebody just decides to either make up something or just use their own judgment or opinions and create a rule arbitrarily. So that's what I mean by ad hoc. Um, so it's a case where without ICC, these rules just get implemented by an individual or the project's team, and we don't want that. We want this to be handled by a dedicated team in the company. Um, One sec. Right. So earlier I'd mentioned MuleSoft, one of the types of integration software, not integration softwares. I think it's a CI/CD software that you can use for integration. So it might be a case where one team in the company picks MuleSoft as their CI/CD platform, and maybe another team builds a custom solution, and a third team just creates a quick point-to-point connection because they're in a hurry, right? For whatever reason. Give that a few years, and guess what's going to happen? You're right back to spaghetti, and we don't want that. The ICC prevents that by providing central governance. Um, so I know this one feels a bit more abstract than the technology concepts because it's about people and the processes rather than software. But in a lot of ways, it's the most important concept on the list. You can have the best integration platform in the world, but without someone to govern it or govern the rules on how to use it, it's going to turn into a mess very quickly, and we don't want that. Man, it's like, yeah. Get me? There was a few years ago when I was doing a project management class at UA. And when I was in the class, we're talking about a bunch of different concepts and uh, concepts and rules and policies and stuff like that. In a sense, kind of similar to this course, it was very heavily theory based. And to be honest, that was where I first learned about. You remember the formula I gave you on how to count the number of connections in a spaghetti implementation? I learned about
Yes,
that
sir.
formula for the first time in that project management class. Yeah. And the analogy I gave about doing the handshakes, my lecturer in that class used the same analogy. Um, and in that course, and I don't know if you guys feel this way about what I'm talking about today, but in that course, the project management class, a lot of what was being said felt a lot like common sense, but it was common sense that was translated and conveyed using formal words and standardizations. And it's not something that I would have taken very seriously. It's stuff that I usually take for granted. Yeah, and I'm not sure if you guys feel the same way about this course, but me kind of reading the content about this course, it kind of makes me feel the same way, where all the information that's being talked about or the content I'm giving you, it feels similar to stuff that I think I already know. I just didn't know that these concepts had words and definitions, formal definitions. Why did I bring that up? I have no idea why I started that. Why was I saying that a while ago? What was I reading a while ago? Um, oh, I guess it's because I mentioned it being abstract technologies, and it wasn't, sorry, not abstract technology. It felt a little bit more abstract as opposed to the concepts that we're talking about in the previous lectures. It didn't feel as serious to me. But anyway, um, where am I? Yeah. So a systems integrator is an individual, or more commonly is a company that specializes in designing and implementing integration solutions. Most organizations don't have all the in-house expertise to do large-scale integration themselves. So they hire a systems integrator. The key distinction is the ICC is internal. What's the ICC stand for again? That's the Integration Competency Center. Yeah. Um, right. So I was saying that ICC is internal. It's the organization's own team, but a systems integrator is typically external. They're usually a consulting firm or a specialist company that you bring in for a specific project. All right? So what does a systems integrator actually do? A systems integrator will follow a pretty standard process. First, they assess the current state. They check to see what systems exist, how you currently communicate, or if you don't communicate. And then they'll design an integration architecture. They'll choose the approach, then choose the platform, then choose the data standards. And then they'll implement and test the solution to see if it works for your company or your organization. And then finally, they train the internal staff to maintain it after the project ends because they're not going to stay forever. Remember, this is an entirely separate company. This is an external consultancy company. So they're going to have to make sure that after they've implemented the solution that they built for this company, they have to train the staff so that they're able to use the integrations and the systems that they provide because they're not staying. If you wanted to stay, you paid them more money, but that's not their job. Yeah. So you're hiring them to come in, look at your system or your organization, build a system, train your people, and then leave and hope that it works. Yeah? So they don't stay forever. The biggest system integrators globally are companies like Accenture or Deloitte or IBM Consulting. Another one is this Tata? Tata Consultancy Services. I think, yeah, those, like I said, those are global, those are international. But in Jamaica, there are smaller firms that do this work for local organizations. I don't know any of their names though. I probably gotta go find out and come back. But yeah, there are smaller firms that do this work locally for organizations in Jamaica. But here's something I want you to think about as a career. Systems integration consulting is one of the highest paid IT specializations. And the reason is simple. The work is complex, the stakes are high, and there aren't enough people in the world, I guess, that can do it very well. So a botched integration or a half-ass or slapdash configuration or integration project can cost an organization millions of dollars. So it would be a good idea if you could get into this, or if you could get good at something like this, you could be the person that companies call when they need to connect their systems together. And it's a very, very valuable position to be in. I want you to tell me if you see the value based on what we've talked about so far and give me your thoughts. Dumar, what are your thoughts? And I'll go to Tariq after.
I'm not sure.
Not sure? All right. Tell me what you're not following.
Uh,
All right, Tariq, you want to assist? I want to see if you're also lost. Maybe I need to go over something. Tell me your thoughts. Tariq, hear me?
sir.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I heard, sir. You guys hearing me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you, sir. I'm
Oh.
just trying to put together the
Oh,
question.
oh, oh. Yeah, man.
So I was saying something with audio cut out.
My audio or yours?
The audio in general, sir.
Oh,
Kind of
oh,
having
oh, oh.
Wi-Fi problems.
Oh, okay. So did you hear the last thing I was talking about a while ago, where I was talking about system integrators as a career?
Uh, no, sir, I never hear it.
Didn't hear that part. All right. Let me do a
The
context again.
question, sir.
Go ahead.
No, what was the question you asked, sir?
Oh, all right. Well, I'll ask the question after I explain it again. So let me explain again. So what I was saying was that one thing that I want you to think about is systems integration as a career, where systems integration consulting is one of the highest paid IT specializations. And the reason for that is that the work that you have to put in to get this done is very complex. And also the stakes are very high. Um, there aren't enough people in the world that can do it very well. And another reason why it's so valuable is that if you were project that was implemented that was not integrated very well in a big organization, it can cost the organization millions of dollars, either to repair it or to reconfigure it so that the company doesn't lose money. So what I'm saying is, if you can get very good at this, you would be the person that companies call on whenever they need to connect their systems together. And I'm saying that that is why the position is so valuable. So I want you to tell me your understanding, like if it makes sense to you, if it brings anything to mind when you think about systems integration or why it is such a valuable position to be in.
It says, sir, it's valuable because it's the backbone of the company's IT.
Right. Did you say IT?
Uh, yes, sir. Like the
Mm,
systems and such. Because if you don't have anyone to integrate or update the new the system's not going to be functional. So you're
mhm.
going to always need somebody that has expertise to handle and move systems.
Right. I'm not sure if I heard
Specializations
the
a lot
last
of
part.
things.
All right. Go ahead. Don't worry, go ahead. Sorry.
Especially if a lot of things are evolving nowadays, so you have to
Hmm.
constantly upgrade in the system and everything. So a person being in the system integration part of your business is very important in order to evolve with the constantly evolving architecture of IT and other things, especially in business, because
Mhm.
business and IT will never stop evolving.
Mhm.
So you're
Mhm.
just always gonna need somebody doing that. So I guess I
Right.
understand why it would be so sought after, especially since, as you say, sir, it's not a lot of people in it or can do it properly, and
Mhm.
it's highly, what's the word I'm thinking about? It's highly skill based
Mhm.
what's the word I'm looking for? Um, it has to do with like it being high
Like high reward. Not sure
high
if that's what
reward, high risk, high
high
risk.
risk, high reward. Yeah. It
Yes,
is very
sir.
much high risk. Absolutely. Because, like I said, if it's a case where your systems aren't integrated well, or if, for example, you had somebody that was working on system integration in your company and they didn't do a very good job, it would mean that the whole company could potentially pop down. Maybe not, maybe not immediately, but eventually somewhere down the road at some unpredictable time. And that's the worst thing that could happen. We don't want that, right?
Yes, sir.
Um, to one of the points that you said, you did mention being that systems integrator in the company, which yes, could be very helpful for you. But based on one of the points that I made earlier, it is very much important, and this is talking about the difference between ICC and a systems integrator. Where remember I said ICC is an internal team that is owned by the organization, as opposed to an external team, which is a systems integrator, right? Being the systems integrator, an external firm, you find that they are going to be, I want to say, in most cases, more valuable because I think it would be in a company's best interest externalize that kind of a job. Because if your only job in the company is to handle
Wait,
systems
sir.
integration, yeah, go ahead.
So are you going to say like the ICC is more used to dealing with that specific system as opposed to the system integrator being from external could
Mhm.
more have more skills or more experience in dealing with other systems in order to know how to perfectly upgrade or change anything to the system?
So you make a very good point, but one of the things that I want us to think about, you said that the people in ICC would only have the knowledge in that particular system because they're in the company. Personally, that kind of made me feel like that they would be the leading experts because if you
They
have a
would
whole
know
heap of
more about
knowledge
that.
on a bunch of different various systems, you might have a generic or maybe I don't know, maybe not generic, but like a
Like
more
sir, like a jack of all trades but a master of none.
right, exactly. So you'd have a general understanding of how to implement these systems, as opposed to if you're in the company, you know exactly how this thing work, right?
Yes, sir.
So that could be one benefit of having an ICC in the company. But one of the things I want you to think about as well is what if, for example, you're able to hire an ICC team? Okay, no, not hire. You have the ICC team internally. When they do their systems integration, and um, this is kind of a, what's the word I was going to use? A very generalized definition or generalized explanation, even though it's not very likely. What if you were able to perform the systems integration and you do it perfectly, right? What's the point of the team when they're done with the systems integration? There's no point in continuously giving them a salary because the system's done make already and then done integrate already.
What about
So, like,
maintenance?
okay, yeah, actually, that's a very good point. Maintenance is important. All right, fair. That's important. Um, do I have a counter for that? No, I don't. Maintenance is actually a good idea because the system, like you said, very importantly, and a very good point you brought up, systems and applications and software and companies and businesses, they all evolve. And they evolve because they have to adapt and keep up to date with their environment. They have to keep up to date with the things that are going on in the world. And the things in the world are always changing. So they need to be able to keep up and make sure that they don't fall behind. They don't want to make sure that they don't become a legacy system or a legacy service. So yeah, all right, that's a good point. Yeah, maintenance is always going to be the reason to keep them in-house. But I guess in a sense you could think of it as because they are very localized to the team and they only know specifically about the services or the systems in the company, they might be missing certain types of experience or specialties that you get from getting more experience outside of that particular company, right? So that's where the system integrator, external firm comes in. They've seen it all. They go from company to company and they see a bunch of different problems and they're able to maybe draw on past experiences to be able to implement new fixes or more optimal fixes for your company based on the expertise that they have. Um, and because they can come into your firm and, sorry, not come into your firm, come into your organization and implement these solutions based on their expertise, you could potentially charge a bag of money to offer this service, as opposed to relying on the ICC team internally. One thing that also came to mind is if you have the ICC team, that is a team of people that you will constantly have to pay every month. But if it's a system integrator firm, which is external, you cannot just go and pay them one money for a temporary project and then they leave. The only reason they need to come back in the future is if, they didn't do the training well or they did the training well, but the staff got rotated out, so you have to do more training again. So I guess there are trade-offs, there are pros and cons depending on what you're looking at. Either way, regardless of whether you're a systems integrator, firm, external firm, or your ICC internal, it is a very, very good business to get into for the reason that I said. Tell me for good. We get it?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. Terry, did you have any points that you wanted to raise? I had Damoy talking for a little bit a while ago. Oh, you did.
Sir, that might say everything.
Mm-hmm. All right, no problem. Cool. Okay. So, cloud-based integrations. Cloud-based integrations is the modern evolution of everything that we've been discussing. Instead of buying and maintaining your own middleware servers in a data center, you use a cloud service to connect your applications together. The integration platform itself lives in the cloud. When I say lives in the cloud, you know what I mean by that? Like, I know that people use the word cloud interchangeably or willy-nilly, and they don't know what I mean by that. But like, do you know what I mean when I say the cloud?
Sir, are we talking about like the whole cloud system, or are we just talking about like the cloud as the storage?
Okay, you know what? You make a very good point. And I believe because you made that distinction, it means that it's entirely possible that you don't fully know the difference. Or rather, you don't know that there is no difference. But still, explain. Explain the first one to me.
The cloud as like the connections, so the
Sure.
general cloud.
Right.
So based on my definition,
Mhm.
the cloud in that way is like having everything under, well, there's a different name for it, otherwise on cloud. Having everything or every single application or hardware connected to one system. So
Mhm.
to one system in a certain way. So the
Mhm.
services and everything would be applicable to everything else, where
Mhm.
everything is connected for the general user or the company. So if one person uses, let's say, uh, like Word document or things like that, it'll
Mhm.
be in the cloud
Mhm.
where anybody else could be able to access it. Well, if
Mhm.
given the credentials are passwords or things like that, they can
Mhm.
get to use it. Or if they want to use one like say they want to use a computer
Mhm.
and it is connect, they want to like, it's not wireless, but they
Mhm.
want to like get to the printer.
Mhm.
So they use their computer that is in the cloud and
Mhm.
send it over to the printer inside the system,
Mm-hmm.
where the printer can print it like Bluetooth, like
Right.
from far
Okay.
from each other like that.
I get what you're saying. All right. You
Yeah.
made a few points that I want you to hold on to. Um, and we can discuss them. There are a few things I want to point out about what you said. But before that, Tariq, do you have any thoughts about what is meant by the cloud?
Okay, so my understanding of the cloud is when something is a service is not stored locally but on a remote server. So the
Mm,
distinction would be like the local distinction would be like a Word, Microsoft Word on your computer,
mm-hmm,
and a cloud application could be like the Google Docs website.
mm-hmm.
It's not
Okay.
stored on your computer.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Okay.
on a server.
Right. Okay, good. So the points that the both of you make are very valid. One thing I want to point out that the Moy said, I really wish I could remember exactly what you said. Um, all right, let me pick back at to what I remember. So, firstly, you had made a distinction between the cloud in general versus the cloud storage. The reason I want to pick that out is because technically the two of them are the same. It is just that cloud storage is not an entirely separate system all on its own. It's not a different kind of cloud. It's the same cloud. It's just that you're able to get the service that is known as storage in the form of a cloud-based system. Meaning, it is entirely possible for you to have a storage system that is not cloud-based. And that would look like, going off of what Tariq had said, something local. So something local, like local storage, that would come in the form of, for example, a thumb drive. Or a system or a server that is located in the business whose sole purpose is to store information. So that computer would be connected across the network and made available to all of the machines, all of the users in the company, and they'd have access to this computer. This computer probably has several terabytes or petabytes of storage attached to it that anybody would be able to connect to, right? And this would be available locally, meaning when you are on the premises, you're in the company, you can access it. But as soon as you leave the company network, I almost said Digicel network a while ago because I'm drawing on my knowledge from when I was working at Digicel. As soon as you leave Digicel and gone home, or as soon as you leave work and gone home, you don't have access to that storage anymore because it was local to the business. As opposed to if the service was made available over the internet. So the big description is when the cloud storage, or not the cloud storage, but the service that you're trying to access is available over the internet. Going back to that example that Tariq had made a while ago, where you have Microsoft Word on your machine, where if you're using your machine, you open up Microsoft Word on your computer and you type a document and you save it and it's saved on your computer. Once you turn that machine off, you go on your phone or maybe you go on the iPad and you want to access that document. You don't have access to it because the file was saved on your computer. As opposed to using Google Docs. You open Google Docs in a browser and you access the website over the internet and you're able to access that application and you're able to write your notes, whatever the notes may be. And then you want to put on the computer now and you want to move over to your phone to pick up because maybe you want to go on a walk or something like that while you do your work. You just pick up your phone and you resume. The reason you're able to do that is because the service that you're using in the first place is available over the internet. So it's not something that is locally stored in the company's infrastructure or it's not local to your computer. It's something that you're able to access over the internet. So that is what I mean when I say cloud-based. So cloud storage is not a separate thing from cloud in general. Cloud storage just means storage over the internet. And all the other concepts that you're able to use that are cloud-based are the same as our local-based systems, but they're available over the internet. Right? And to be honest, there's nothing really that special about the cloud. We just use the cloud or the term cloud to abstract it away from what we already know. But when you get into it, it's really no different from the types of services or access to the services that we have on premises. Um, and the reason why it's not different is because when you're able to access your systems on premises, It's on your computer, but the cloud is really just somebody else's computer. It's still a computer, it's just not yours. It's somebody else's. It is a data farm or a data center somewhere in foreign that is running the same software that your computer have on it. The only difference is you don't have to be the one to keep on your computer all the time to be able to access it. All you do, you're outsourcing the system. You're making it so that somebody else needs to keep their computer on at all times so that you can remote into their computer and access it. It may not come in the form of you remoting into the computer because they've made it simple. They make it seem as if it's just seamless and easy to access. And I guess that's particularly why they call it the cloud, just as a way to, abstract it away from the systems that we already use. But yeah, that's what I mean when I say cloud-based integration. I just mean somebody else's computer. Tell me if that's clear. I hope I didn't fry your brain with that.
Yes, sir. Very clear.
All right, good.
Yes, sir.
All right, good. Um, okay, I'll go back to my notes. So, where on earth was I? One sec. Yes, so it said the integration platform itself lives in the cloud. So traditionally, setting up an integration platform would mean buying expensive server hardware, installing the enterprise software, and that could cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. Hiring staff to maintain all of it, that's another thing that you'd have to consider as well. But cloud-based integration changes the economics completely. Um, there are four big advantages to cloud-based integration. Scalability is the first thing. If you need to handle more messages during peak season, the cloud just scales up automatically. You don't have to buy any more servers. You don't have to manage any hardware. Um, the cloud provider, that's the person that owns the system that you're getting the service from, they're the one that handles the servers. They're the one that handles updates, and they're the one that handles security patches and security updates and all that stuff. All you're doing is connecting to it. And you can connect to anything that you want, and you can connect to it anywhere, as long as you have internet, that is. Cloud apps, on-premise systems, mobile apps, and sorry, hold on, where was I? Cloud apps, on-premise systems, mobile apps, even partner systems across the internet. So these are the things that you'll be able to connect to. Given that you're using cloud-based integration, you'll be able to connect to your cloud apps, you'll be able to connect to your on-premise systems, and you'll be able to connect to your mobile apps. And even the partner apps, even the partner system apps, you'll be able to connect to over the internet. And when I say create the partner system apps, I mean the apps that you'd have bought from the vendors that you have installed into your organization. If you have cloud-based integration, it allows you to connect to those things without having to go the route that the vendor implemented or the vendor intended, is what I want to say. All right. And the cost model is a subscription-based model instead of a massive upfront investment. So you can think of it like, I don't know if you guys would have ever been exposed to the cost of Microsoft Office, but I've had people that come to me asking me if I can buy Microsoft Office for them and install it on their computer. When I say buy it for them, I don't mean me use my own money. Them give me their money and I buy it for them. And when I go online and see how much Microsoft Office costs, it's something like $170, if I remember correctly. But now they're moving away from the one-time cost and they're moving into a subscription-based model. Actually, wait, I don't know how much it costs. I was going to say $20 a month, but I'm thinking about Photoshop. I don't know how much Microsoft Office costs. No, now that they've moved over to subscription. But I do also remember when Photoshop was a one-time cost and Photoshop was a bag of money. But now you can get Photoshop for $20 a month. It has its ups and its downs, its pros and its cons. Some people don't like it, and I can understand why they don't like it, especially because of competition. There are other competition in the scene, like what the name, Affinity Photo. I think you pay like $50 one time and then you have the application for the rest of its lifetime, as opposed to paying $20 a month for Photoshop. It very much depends on how much you use, I guess, or what your needs are. Anyway, so yeah, these cloud integrations come in the form of monthly subscription because it's something that you're going to be relying on somebody else's infrastructure to keep up and running. If it's a case where you pay one big money all at the front or all up front, when that money done, what happens? So that's why they change it to a subscription model. So you're always paying them. As long as you're using the system, you're always paying them. I'll give you a practical example now. Say a company uses an application called Salesforce for sales. I hope you guys are familiar with these. Salesforce for sales, maybe QuickBooks for accounting, and MailChimp for email marketing. Have you guys ever seen MailChimp? You guys familiar with MailChimp? I've used MailChimp before.
No, sir, I'm not. The only thing I'm familiar with here is QuickBooks.
QuickBooks. I was hoping you know at least QuickBooks. But
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
I've used MailChimp. MailChimp, what is it similar to? You've used Google Forms before, yeah?
Yes, sir.
Where you can build out a
Yes,
form and
sir.
send it out to other people and collect information. I'm not going to say that MailChimp is the same as that, but MailChimp offers services similar to that, where you can build out forms and distribute them and collect information based on the results of those forms. And I think it can also handle email-based systems as well, where you want to be able to distribute different emails to different vendors or different clients. It handles a lot of the complexities of that distribution for you. Yeah. But anyway, we'll have different types of systems that are used for different types of what I said a while ago, different types of applications that are meant for different systems in the company. So I said Salesforce for sales, QuickBooks for accounting, and MailChimp for email marketing. All three of these cloud-based applications are from different companies. A cloud-based integration tool like Zapier or MuleSoft. I'm not sure if you guys ever heard of Zapier. I've used Zapier in the past. Um, where am I saying ago? Zapier or MuleSoft Anypoint connects them so that when a deal closes in Salesforce, an invoice is automatically created in QuickBooks, and then the customer is added to a MailChimp email list without any kind of human intervention, right? So a while ago, what I was talking about was three different existing software that are all already cloud-based, but they're not cloud-based integration. They're just cloud-based applications. So it's something that you can access from the cloud. Salesforce, QuickBooks, and MailChimp are all cloud-based applications, but they're independent. They don't know about each other. This cloud-based integration comes in the form of the application called Zapier or MuleSoft Anypoint, which takes these individual applications and connects them together. And the example I gave a while ago was, you're in sales, when you have a transaction and you close the transaction, you created the invoice and you not created invoice, invoice would come after. You close out a transaction, right? So the money pay and you want to record this. Um, in Salesforce, automatically QuickBooks would generate an invoice, and then MailChimp would automatically add this person to an email list to say that, if they are in need of any further services or products down the line, they'd get the email for marketing purposes. And this would happen because of the cloud-based integration automatically without anybody having to trigger anything manually. Right? Um, I doubt anybody here has ever used Zapier. Or actually, tell me, have you ever heard of Zapier or used it?
No, sir.
Okay.
First,
Oh, no. What?
first time I'm hearing about it, sir.
Okay, first time you hear was Zapier. What about IFTTT? Or if that then, oh, if this then that. Have you ever heard of IFTTT? If this then that?
No, sir.
No? All right.
We hear
New
about
one.
that, but not like it as a system.
Come again? I didn't hear what you said.
We hear about it, but not as like a system.
Okay, but you've heard the term before.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
the
get what you're
term I've
saying.
heard before, but
Yeah,
not
yeah,
the system.
right. No, there's a system or an integration-based software called if this then that or IFTTT. Yeah. So if you were to use Zapier or IFTTT to automate things on your phone or your computer, then you'd have already been exposed to cloud-based integration as a consumer. Um, but yeah, that's consumer level stuff. Enterprise tools, and when I say enterprise, what I mean is organizational level tools like MuleSoft, they do the same thing, but at a massive scale with hardened security. monitoring, and governance built in. Yeah. So IFTTT and Zapier, those are the applications or integration software that are available to consumers that don't need the same type of security and what are other things that a company needs? Company definitely needs security. I don't know. And a bag of other things that maybe the layperson wouldn't need. Or if they do need it, the layperson doesn't need it to be at the same level or the same degree as a company would need it. Yeah. So Zapier and IFTTT are the consumer level versions of the products, and MuleSoft is the enterprise version of um, this type of integration. And MuleSoft would improve in the areas of security, monitoring, and governance, and have all that stuff built in. All right. Okay. So next we're going to talk about this big word. Oh God. Interoperability. I really hope I can nail that every single time. Interoperability. All right. So the last fundamental concept is interoperability. And in many ways, it's the most important one because it's the goal of all the other concepts are working toward. All the other concepts, they're working toward being interoperable. I really hope I'm saying that right. Interoperability. Anyway, interoperability means that the different systems and applications can exchange data and use the data meaningfully. And notice that I said meaningfully with emphasis. So that's the key word. It's not enough just to move data from system A to B. System B actually has to understand the data and know what it means when it gets the data. So taking a look at the diagram that I have on the side, we have three levels, and each one builds on the one below it. At the bottom, we have technical interoperability, and this is the baseline. The systems can physically connect and send data to one another. So you have the network, the protocols, the wires, but this is the easiest to achieve. This is baseline. In the middle now, we have syntactic interoperability. This means that the systems agree on a common data format, whether it be XML or JSON or HL7. Do you remember these different formats that we talked about? XML, JSON, and HL7?
Yes, sir. Remember
Mhm.
them.
Yeah. So in the syntactic layer, they can actually parse each other's messages. So they understand each other. Even though they're not speaking the same language, they can actually talk to each other and translate in between each other. And this is what we talked about when we're talking about a common data format. Wait, I think I said something wrong a while ago. Hold on. Okay, no. It is not when each system is able to talk XML, JSON, and HL7. It is when all of the systems agree on the same data format. So it is not to say that all three systems or each system would have its own format where one talk XML, one talk JSON, and the other one talk HL7. I should have just listed them as examples of the different types of format that all systems can agree on. But yeah, at the top now, we have the semantic interoperability. And semantic is the hardest and the most valuable. The systems actually understand the meaning of the data. When system A sends, for example, you have a line that says, customer underscore balance is 5,000. To us looking at it, that may not have any meaning. But when system A sends that to system B knows that that 5,000 is actually Jamaican dollars and not US dollars. It knows that an accounts receivable balance, it knows that it's an accounts receivable balance and not a bank balance. And there's no ambiguity. So the semantic layer is us trying to get a system, or not a system, but an integration of system where all of the information that is passed between each layer is understood by each layer or understood by each system, as opposed to it being a case where when it gets the data, it requires a person to go in and understand that information manually. We don't want that. We want it to be automatic. Give you another example. Think about two banks, NCB and Scotia. I don't like NCB, even though I used to work there. I really like Scotia. I don't know if it's because I'm red, Red isn't even my favorite color, but red beats blue all the time. We all know that. Anyway, technical interoperability means that they can send data to each other, right? They can just send data, that's all. Syntactic means that they use the Swift format. Do you guys remember we talked about the Swift format? It's a data format protocol that's used between banks, which allows all banks all over the world to be able to talk to each other and send money. So the syntactic layer or the syntactic aspect of it means that they all use Swift. So that's a common data format that they all use. They use that same format on both sides so that each bank can parse all the messages that come in and go out. But the semantic layer means that both banks correctly process currencies, the fees, and the account types. And when you have all three levels, you get smooth money transfer. Well, that sounds like a tagline for a bank. Smooth money transfer. When semantic interoperability fails, you get customers' money going to the wrong account type or being processed in the wrong currency, which would be awful. Actually, maybe it wouldn't be that bad because if I send you 5 grand and I meant it to be in Jamaican dollars, but when you get it is US dollars, I mean, that's not bad for me. That's bad for the bank because I only lost 5,000 Jamaican dollars, but the person on the receiving end, them get 5,000 US, which is good for them. But I guess the bank doesn't want that. Maybe we would want it, but the bank don't want that. Most integration failures happen because organizations achieve the bottom level, which is the technical connectivity. And after they achieve technical connectivity, they think that they're done. But the problem is, without syntactic and semantic interoperability, they're just moving data that nobody can use properly. Tell me if you understand what I meant by that. The three different levels or the three different interoperabilities. Do you have any questions on those?
Uh, yeah. Alright,
Mhm.
so I can go to them again, but like
Yeah.
general.
Okay, yeah, sure thing. So we're looking at technical first, baseline.
Oh, it starts at the bottom.
Yeah, we start at the bottom. It's like well, I feel like it should really be a pyramid, but it's all right. Yeah, we start at the bottom. The easiest type of interoperability. Hold on, let me see if I can Google a definition for interoperability real quick. I should have had it in the slides. Interoperability. So interoperability is the ability is the ability of computer systems or software to exchange and make use of information. Another definition. Is there another definition? The ability of the military equipment or groups to operate in conjunction with each other. Interoperability is a standard-based approach to enabling different IT. This is really specific to IT. I didn't know that. I thought it was just a word. It says it is an standards-based approach to enabling different IT systems to exchange data and share functionality with minimal end-user intervention. Interoperable systems play an increasingly vital role in healthcare, government, and commerce in public safety. Okay, so yeah, simply put, more general, interoperability is just a way of being able to share information between unrelated systems. Yeah? Does that help? I still go into the explanation, but just as a base definition, base understanding, we understand interoperability.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I do have a definition. The ability of different systems and applications to exchange data and use. Oh, I didn't even notice that definition was there all along. Okay, my bad. But yeah, so baseline, technical interoperability. That just means that there is a channel of communication between the two systems. Like they are physically able to communicate with each other. That is technical interoperability. We don't really care that they may not be able to understand each other. It just means that if I talk, you hear me. That's all technical interoperability cares about. As soon as I saw something, you hear it. Whether or not you understand it is entirely different. We don't business about that at the technical level. We just want to know that if I say something, you hear it. All right. Syntactic interoperability now, that's when we start to care when you actually understand me, meaning we agree on a language. So technical meant as soon as I talk, you hear me. It don't matter if you understand me. But syntactic means you and I, when we're talking, I speak English and you understand English. So you hear what I say and my words make sense, right? But it doesn't mean that the words that I'm saying actually are significant to you. You don't know if what I'm saying actually, no, let me not say that. The words that I'm saying make sense to you, but you don't understand the context that I'm using these words in. So for example, going back to the example with the 5,000. Actually, let me put something on the screen. Let me see. Sublime. Uh-huh. If I had a system that was using JSON, oh wait, maybe you can hear me now. If I was using a system that was using JSON to communicate information back and forth, and you said that you guys were familiar with JSON, and I had a message or a JSON object that looked like this. Temp. This, right? This is my information. Would you be able to tell, even though you understand JSON and I understand JSON, would you be able to tell if the 40 in this case is Celsius or Fahrenheit? Like just looking at information I have. Temp mean temperature. Let me just spell out temperature. As a matter of fact, no, that's a good way to think about it as well. If I never said anything, would you have assumed that temp was temperature? And if you did assume it
Yes.
was temperature, you would have assumed, okay, no problem. Maybe because the number was there. But even if you understand that it's temperature, would you be able to assume that, let me not ask it that way. Can you
Which
tell me
unit of temperature?
which unit of temperature I'm using exactly? Can you tell me if I'm using Celsius or Fahrenheit?
No,
No. But you do understand JSON, don't it?
I think yes, sir.
Right,
Yes.
good. So being able to understand the word that I'm saying or understand the protocol or the language I'm using to convey the data, that is where syntactic interoperability comes in. I agree to use JSON and you agree to use JSON, so I'm able to send the data over to you using JSON. So it's one step above the technical interoperability, where if I talk, you hear me. But in syntactic, it is that you and I both speak the same language. Semantic interoperability comes in now, where not only do we speak the same language, but if I send this message over to you, you know that temp already means temperature. And you know that when I say 40, I'm actually talking about 40 degrees Celsius and not 40 degrees Fahrenheit or 40 degrees Kelvin, right? Even though I did not specify the unit, because we agree on different things and we already have certain standards and already agree on certain policies and certain rules and standards, any message I send over to you does not need to be interpreted, or rather, the interpretation is unambiguous. You know exactly what I mean when I say it. You know what I'm saying? Is that a little bit more helpful? I hope. Gamoy, if you're talking or not hearing.
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay, cool. Terry, how about you? You good?
Yes, sir, understanding.
Okay, good. Cool. All right. Let me move to this now. Okay. Let's do a quick activity. Wait, why is this class going on for so long? Well, we'll have 2 hours, so yeah. Anyway, let's do an activity. Real quick activity. What I'm going to do is I'm going to see if we can test the stuff that we've learned so far. We just covered 7 concepts a while ago. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to describe some real world situations. And what I want you guys to do is tell me which concept it best matches. So, all right, look at this slide. I have 7 options here. We have CI, EAI, integration platform, ICC, integration systems integrator and cloud integration, and also interoperability. So I'm going to read through some scenarios, and then if you want, you can answer. I'll call on if you want, or you can just tell me which one of these, or we can do it as a discussion. Which one of these concepts match up with the scenario? Sorry, with the concept. Which one of these scenarios match up with the concept? That's all right. We can. You guys are with that? We can do that.
Yes, sir. Ready?
I
All
think
right,
so.
cool. Okay, so here's the first scenario. It's not a long thing. Imagine you have a development team at a fintech company, financial technology company, and they push code changes multiple times a day. Every push automatically triggers a build and 500 automated tests. What does that sound like to you? Let me read it again. A development team at a fintech company pushes code changes multiple times a day. Every time they push, it automatically triggers a build and 500 automated tests. Which one does that sound like to you?
Would that be the CI, sir?
Mm-hmm. Lemoyne, do you agree? Is that CI?
I think so.
Mm-hmm. All right. Okay. One of the reasons that we know it's CI is because of a few keywords I used. Automated, multiple times a day, and tests. Yeah. The push will trigger some automations. It will push and sorry, the push will trigger some automated tests and it will trigger a build. So it is not a case where somebody had to go in and look at the code, compile the code themselves, and then perform the test manually. We use continuous integration to automate this process where you push your code, and as soon as the code is pushed automatically, um, a build is triggered. And if it's a case where the build is triggered and it fails, then you know that you have a compilation error. Maybe a compilation error comes in the form of a syntax error in your code because you left off a semicolon or something like that. So immediately, as soon as you build and push the code, you'd know that you have an error in your code. So yeah, um, that's one of the things that we talked about in continuous integration. Another thing that's important is this type of automation happening multiple times a day, where instead of you do your work for weeks or months and then you test at the end, you do your testing along the way in increments. You write your code, you build it, you push, and you test it. And you do this at each step. All right. So yeah, you're correct. Continuous integration is correct. All right. Let us look at another one now. Scenario 2. So Grace Kennedy hires an they hire Accenture. The company is called Accenture to connect their manufacturing system to their distribution and finance platforms. What does that sound like to you? Read it again. Grace Kennedy hires Accenture to connect their manufacturing system to their distribution and finance platforms. What does that sound
Sir,
like?
it's like the system integrator.
Mm. Okay, Demoy, do you agree?
Sure. Repeat it again.
Grace Kennedy hires Accenture, which is the company, to connect their manufacturing system to their distribution and finance platform.
Yeah, system integrator.
System integrator. Tell me why you said that.
Because they outsource it.
So they're hiring an external company, and
Yes,
they're
sir.
hiring external company for the purpose of connecting their internal systems, right?
Yes, sir.
That's right. So we talked about how we hire our external companies because they have the expertise and they have the experience required to um, come into the company and analyze the company, take a look at its needs, and implement a solution. So yes, you are correct. It is systems integrator. Very good. All right, next one. There are 7. So we're at number 3 now. A hospital creates a dedicated 5-person team. You should already know what the answer is. A hospital creates a dedicated 5-person team whose job it is to set integration standards, approve new connections, and maintain the middleware. What does that sound like?
I
ICC.
see, see, see.
Okay, you guys are learning. That's really good. So yeah, ICC is the dedicated team. They are the ones that set the standards. They're the one that govern the policies and all the rules and make I said standards and policies already, so I can't use the words again. But yeah, they govern the standards and the policies, and they're the dedicated team internal to the company. So yes, you are correct. Integration Competency Center, or ICC, is correct. Okay, next one. A company uses Zapier to automatically create a Trello card. You guys don't even know what Trello is. Um,
Actually,
a
sir, I know what
company.
Triller is.
Oh, you know about Trello? Okay, that's cool.
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. So a company uses Zapier to automatically create a Trello card every time a customer fills out a Google form. What does that sound like?
Would that be EAI?
Do we agree? Is it EAI?
Yes, sir.
Hmm. Interesting. All right, maybe we'll have to go back over EAI
No,
because
no,
I
no.
did.
You
Hmm?
said Zapier.
Mm-hmm. You
Would it
remember what
be
we
the
use
in
Zapier to do?
is it was one of those three
Or would that
tools.
be
So
an
I think
integration platform?
Uh, Integration platform. I guess, but it's the type of integration platform that we're looking at. All right, let me tell you. So in this case, Zapier is cloud-based integration, right? So the tools that we're using, Trello, for example, and Google Forms, those are cloud-based tools. And we're using an external tool to all those three tools to connect them together. Trello and Google Forms, them don't know about each other. But they are two independent cloud-based systems. And we use Zapier, which is another cloud-based
yeah,
integration system
Trello
to
is
connect
cloud-based.
the output of one to serve as the input of another one. What was the scenario that I said again? The scenario I said was to automatically create a Trello card every time a customer fills out a Google form. So yeah, in that case, that would be a cloud-based integration. All the tools are cloud-based and they're connected by a cloud integration service. All right. I can understand why you'd have said integration platform though, but maybe we'll have to go back over that. But it's all right. All right, next one. NCB's mobile banking app can send money to Scotia bank accounts, and both banks correctly pass the currency, the fees, and the account types. Oh, sorry, not pass, process. Let me read it again. NCB's mobile banking app, so the NCB app, can send money to a Scotia bank account, and both banks correctly process currencies, fees, and account types. What does that sound like an example of?
That would be interoperability.
And you almost nailed the pronunciation. Good job. Demoy, do you agree?
Interoperability.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, I agree with interoperability. So they're not just connected; they actually understand each other's data. There's no ambiguity in between the types of information being sent from one system to the other. If I send you money, you need to make sure that on the receiving end, you understand that when I say 5,000, I mean 5,000 Jamaican dollars. I need you to understand that when I'm sending this to your account, that it needs to be sent to a savings account as opposed to a checking account or a receivable account. And the fees that are associated with these transfers. Um, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the difference between ACH and RTGS. This is something that you have to be familiar with when you're sending money across banks. You guys ever come across ACH and RTGS? No?
No, sir.
Okay, so these protocols are important because when we are sending information between banks,
Oh, yes, sir. It just click back in my mind.
oh,
I recognize it now.
you're familiar. Okay, Damoy, are you familiar?
Uh, sir, something just happened a while ago. So I was out of it for a second. What were we talking
Oh,
about?
no problem. We're talking about interoperability between banks. And I was giving the example of ACH versus RTGS. Are you familiar with those?
RTGS, yes, but A what?
Hold the phone. You're familiar with RTGS, but not
No,
ACH?
I heard
Oh,
about
okay. Tell me what
RTGS
you know about
before.
RTGS.
Uh, not much. Just the word. I've
Okay.
heard the
All right,
word
no
before.
problem. Cool. So when you're sending money between banks, actually no, when you're sending
Oh, when you
money,
press them two different things, but I don't know what they both do.
okay, right. Okay, let me explain what they do. Let's say, for instance, you're sending money from Scotia to Scotia. There's no reason for the information to leave the company. It is automatically guaranteed that there is no ambiguity between the transaction or between the sender and the receiver because you're sending money from Scotia to Scotia. So obviously, if I say I want to send money from my savings account, $5,000 to your savings account, and you were supposed to get $5,000, if there was any kind of mishap or um, miscommunication along the way, something would very much be wrong with Scotiabank system. Because how are you going to send money from Scotiabank to Scotiabank and you make a mistake, right? That's because Scotiabank knows how Scotiabank works. But NCB does not necessarily know how Scotiabank works. They build their system in a similar but slightly different way, where both of them will communicate using a standard protocol that is Swift, but there are different systems inside of the banks that make it so that the the transactions they're not immediate. There's going to be some kind of delay caused by whatever system. And yes, I used to work at a bank and I'm supposed to understand this better, but I don't understand it. I'm giving a very general definition. ACH makes it so that when the information or the transaction leaves Scotiabank and gets to, what name there? NCB, the transaction is
Yeah.
written to a ledger or a log. And that information is read from that ledger or that log at a particular time of day. So it's not a case where as soon as you send the money, it reaches NCB. It has to be logged and it has to be added to a queue because when it's added to the queue, or rather at a certain time of day, NCB will then open that queue and look at the information that came in from all the other banks and say, all right, let me read this information. This is $5,000, this is savings account, and this is Jamaican dollars. All right, let me process that one now. And then it will go through the list and it will do it one by one at a particular time of day. I think it usually happens at more than one times of day. I think it's like maybe 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and 4 o'clock or something like that. It's not immediate because of the different systems that they're using. That's how ACH works. ACH, I think it runs maybe 3, maybe 4 times a day. And it cuts off at a particular time. RTGS is similar but different. RTGS uses a more higher priority based system. I don't know how often it works. I don't know if it's every hour, but it's a case where RTGS allows you to get the money more quickly than relying on ACH. I think ACH also does not work on the weekend, and I don't know if RTGS works on the weekend. But basically, if it's a case where you need to be able to send money from Scotia to NTB or vice versa, and you need to make sure that that money gets to the other bank more quickly than 3 times a day and only on the weekdays, you use RTGS. RTGS is more expensive. So typically, if it's a case where you want the money sent now, or at least within the next hour, I think you have to spend like $300 or something like that. In addition to the money that you're already sending, so that it hits the person's bank account. But ACH probably costs like $20, I think. So that's the main difference between ACH and RTGS. Yeah? And
Yes,
that
sir.
is an attempt to achieve interoperability. It's not perfect, but it's what we have right now. All right. Okay, cool. So
Yes, sir.
yes, we said that that was interoperability. They're not just connected, but they understand each other's data. All right, we have 2 more scenarios. So we have a retail company that connects their Shopify store. You guys know about Shopify?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
You
sir.
said that with such confidence. All right, hush. I mean, sorry. All right, cool. So
You
we
said
have
we
a
use
Well, we
it.
use
We
it.
use it
We
for a
use it.
project, sir.
Yes, sir.
come again? Sorry, wait, hold on. Terry, you go.
It's the same thing. We use it for my school project, sir.
Oh, that's interesting. I have never formally learned how to use Shopify. That's good. Damoy, what were you saying?
The same thing. Me and
Oh,
him were in the same group.
well, that's really good. Okay, wait, does Shopify work in Jamaica?
Uh, we never really do like
The payment.
yeah, we
Oh,
just
you
did
never did
the
payment thing.
whole
Okay,
system. We just did the whole
got you.
system.
Okay, that's still good. Okay, cool. All right, so you have a Shopify, a retail company connects their Shopify store, QuickBooks accounting, and their ShipStation shipping into one unified workflow. What does that sound like to you?
Repeat,
Integration
sir?
platform.
All right. You said repeat. Okay, let me see it again. A retail company connects their Shopify store, QuickBooks accounting, and ShipStation shipping. ShipStation is a shipping application into one unified workflow. And I think Tariq said, wait, was it Tariq? I'm not sure.
No, I
Said
was just
integrate.
asking you to repeat. I was
Oh, yeah,
saying
yeah.
it's probably the integration platform.
Okay, I think the both of you said integration platform. And you know what?
Yes, sir. It's like an integration platform.
I would agree, but here's the difference. These particular software that we're using are specifically for enterprises or organizations. So because of that, I have to defer to saying enterprise application integration. So yes, it is integration platform, which is correct, but enterprise application integration is more correct. Because we're talking about enterprise, we're talking about organization. So again, remember, you are correct, but because EAI is here, you'll be more correct to say EAI. Tell me if you agree.
Yes, I understand.
All right, cool. Okay, last one now. So we have Microsoft Azure provides tools that route messages between companies, on-premise database, and their Salesforce CRM in the cloud. Microsoft Azure provides tools that routes messages between companies on-premise database, and their Salesforce CRM in the cloud. Okay, I don't think I would get this one right either, because this just sounds like a bag of words to me. But it's the one that you guys have been saying and getting it wrong. So you can tell me the answer.
Um,
It's the one you just said a
EIA?
while ago. No, it's the one you just said a
No,
while ago.
integration platform.
Integration platform, right? So yeah, Azure is providing a middleware that handles routing and transformation. Okay, I don't like this one at all because this one could be EAI as well. All right, you know what? I would give EAI the correct mark because it's using Azure providing tools that route messages between a company. I said company, so obviously going to be EAI. You know what? This wrong. My notes are wrong. It's EAI, but according to my notes, it's actually integration platform. But yeah, you understand what I mean, yeah?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. Damoy? Oh, that was Damoy. Tariq, you good?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
All right, cool. All right. So, all right, for the most part, I'd say the fact that we can match these scenarios to the right concept means that the material's sticking, which is good. But that don't mean no way stop there. Um, you guys are going to take your own time and you're going to go through the notes on your own. If you need to go through the recording yourself, maybe be helpful. Um, would it be beneficial? Okay, I know that we have the slides, right? And I post the slides. Well, Tomoy doesn't have access to Canvas yet. Tariq, you have access to Canvas, right? Or
Yes,
rather,
sir.
you have access to my content on Canvas.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Question for you. Assuming that you had these slides, would that be enough for you to study? Or do you need more study notes?
This is sufficient, sir.
Okay. All right. So like the slides in combination with the recording, and assume it's sufficient.
Yes, sir.
All right, cool, no problem. If it is a case where you want access to my notes or a version of my notes, I can also provide that. Um, but yeah, 1 second. Let me look back at my notes. Okay, yeah. I was going to continue, but I realized it's close to the end of the lecture. So I think it is okay for us to stop here and we can continue from slide 11 and continue. Yeah, so we'll stop here and we'll continue on Friday. That good?
Yes, sir.
Mhm. Any questions before we close out? Are we okay?
Okay, sir.
All right, cool. One thing I need to do as well. I don't know. Actually, now that I think about it, since it's just 3 people in this class, I would imagine that there are no other lecturers teaching this class. Do you guys know if there are any other lecturers teaching this class at the moment as well? Or is this the only session that we'll do systems integration?
I have no idea, sir, but I think you'd be the only teacher.
Yeah, don't. Because if there were other people, then everybody would be in my class. And there's only two people or three people here. So yeah, I think it's just this one class. In which case, the reason I asked is because I wanted to know if I needed to coordinate with any other lecturers to determine what coursework we do. But if it is not the case, I guess I have free range to design my coursework, aside from the common coursework that we get from Triple CJ. Anyway, all right, yeah, that's fine. Maybe next class I will get to you and tell you more about how we're going to be doing coursework. I haven't decided when we're actually going to start doing the first assignment yet. But you'll get that information on Friday. Hopefully, if I remember. All right. Good.
Yes, sir.
Mhm. All right, cool. So yeah, like I said, we'll end here for today and we'll meet again on Friday. If there are no more questions, please enjoy the rest of your evening.
Same to you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. See you guys.